Welcome back to another video from our series covering my Subaru engine swap into our 1987 Volkswagen Vanagon Westfalia. Now that we've covered the basics behind the Subaru engine swap, it was time to dive into removing the Subaru engine entirely. This way the engine could be rebuilt with new head gaskets, timing belt, and an overall refresh before being installed into the van. Well, here's the Subaru, the 2000 Subaru Outback that we got. We picked it up just a couple days ago. He was parting it out, and I was asking him for a few parts, and he's like, "Hey, do you want the car for $400?" So that's what we did. Got this bad boy for $400. It runs. The exhaust is chopped off, as you obviously just heard. I really have no idea what I'm doing. I'm pretty much just gonna start labeling and taping wires. Overall, we're just gonna start unplugging things and kind of just go from there. There's not much I can hurt, fortunately. So let's get right to it. This process marked the beginning of a very in-depth project that continued over the course of a few months. It sure is fun to look back on, but there were countless hours spent in this non-heated garage slowly chipping away at this massive project. Okay. Before we got too far, I knew I would need an engine hoist and an engine stand. So we found one on Facebook Marketplace and picked up an engine stand from Harbor Freight. These were both fairly inexpensive and made the job so much easier. If our currency for the project was memories from the swap and memories to come, I'd say we had a pretty good payout. I would gladly do it all again.
Ouch. Okay, what are we doing? Which way does it go?
Ow, I kinda hurt my back. Sick. More. Okay. That's how it rolls around. Sick. Alright.
What do we got here?
We got the engine stand here, and we just brought in the engine hoist or crane over there that we picked up on Facebook Marketplace. Got it home safely, and then we'll build this next time we're here and hopefully get an engine on here before too long.
Yeah. With
our ducks in a row, I finally tore into removing the engine.
The lighting is so bad and I can't change it.
That's okay. So we got this alternator bolt removed finally. This one here, we used some WD-40 to loosen it up. Got the throttle cables undone and marked. Remove them from this little bracket here using a 12mm wrench. But yeah, we got this portion of the wiring harness kind of pulled aside, and next time we'll work on getting this stubborn alternator out of here, and then we'll move on to the power steering and getting the coolant out of here as well. This has been Bluff Coast, here with another great video.
Woo!
I began with disconnecting the battery, removing the alternator, airbox, and power steering pump. Oh baby, we got the alternator out. Dang, that thing is heavy. All right, here it is with the alternator out. I just had to struggle a little bit to get this main bolt out, and then obviously loosened this up down there. Got the belt off. It's looking a little more bare in here. While removing the engine, I was simultaneously removing the wiring harness from the interior. I knew I didn't have long before the cold weather would hit, so I tried to be as efficient as possible in destroying this $400 Subaru before we could pull the van in to get the real project started. Just have little baggies here that I've labeled what the bolts are from. Just putting those in there. Oh yeah, I forgot I have to get these bolts off of the lines here first, so then I can then bungee it up and over. All right, so I don't think I can literally wait any longer. I can't push it back any further. So I'm gonna start draining the coolant out of this thing, and hopefully that'll allow me to get the heater boxes and AC boxes, whatever, out of the dash. And then also I should be able to remove the intake manifold and engine from there as well, because it's gonna have to happen eventually. Now I'm just getting all the coolant hoses out of here that I can. Make it a little easier to get the stuff. Alright. Got this one out of the front left here. And then that opened up these fans to get out of here as well. Ah, there's a connection down there I need to get first. I'm missing that one down there. Before I finish pulling out the air boxes, you need to undo this line here. It's a water line that goes to the heater. There's one more on this side as well, right in there. And then this is your AC hose that goes to your AC box. You need to get that undone as well. All right, so my battery hold down bracket was super rusted out, as you can tell. This side was stripped and I couldn't really get it to move much at all. But fortunately this nut came out, got this thing out of here, so I can just swoop this thing out of here and finally get the battery out of here. It's been hanging around a little too long. Whoops. Close that. So already looks way better here in the engine bay. Get this thing. Trash. Last time I was here, I got the alternator out of here, and then I moved on to the power steering pump here. There's a connection there you need to undo. There's a few bolts. I kind of just got that up and out of the way. I didn't remove any of the hoses, but I undid the 10mm bolts from right here. I unplugged part of the harnesses here at the firewall relay and down here as well. So now that this is kind of out of the way, it's time to move on to getting the intake manifold out of the way. So I think the first step there will be just getting spark plug wires out and just a few different other miscellaneous things so that we can lift the intake manifold off the block. Alright, so the past bit I've been disconnecting everything from the intake manifold that connects to the block or the engine bay. Fuel lines, a bunch of different sensor grounds and wires, main engine harness plugs that go from the bulkhead harness to the engine, all the belts. I drained the coolant as best as I could. And yeah, I think I'm ready to take the main 8 intake manifold bolts off. So those are down here in between the runners, 1, 2, 3, and then obviously one here in the front, 4, and then same thing on the other side in between the runners, 1 right there and up there. This is definitely a pretty big step. It'll just pretty much be the block left after that, so pretty stoked about this. I've never been to this point and pretty hyped. I might wait on this. I might have to drain the oil first. I don't know for sure. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, so I'm just gonna wait on this for the time being.
I learned that it was not necessary to drain the oil before removing the intake manifold, so I continued on with the project.
All right, now I'm just gonna use a magnet tool to remove these screws. Come on. And as you obviously could tell when taking them off, you have 4 on each side. Store those in a safe spot. All right, sick. All right, let's see if we can lift this thing off. I don't know if this is because I'm forgetting something or if they're just really caked on there. Oh, there we go. I know I have one more connection under here for the coolant crossover pipe. I'm gonna grab a little block, wood block, to hold this up while I'm getting that last electrical connection out of there. All right, got that connection undone. You can see it under the manifold. Where is it? Yeah, right down there. And now we should be good to go. Dang, this is so awkward to take out. I feel like I'm crushing everything. I think the AC compressor is what giving me the most grief. AC hose that connects to the top of the compressor is getting in my way a whole bunch. So I just disconnected it and we're gonna get it out of the way. Just beware, my AC was not charged, so that was not a problem to disconnect. But if yours is, just be careful and you should probably know what you're doing, because I don't. There's one more air line that connects right to the underside of the throttle body. All right, we got that line disconnected. And we got it. We did it. Woo-hoo. Dude, I'm so hyped right now. Here's what it looks like with the intake runner, intake manifold disconnected. We got some good stuff in here. Yum.
With the intake manifold removed, things really started to move quickly. The engine bay finally felt less cluttered, and the end was in sight.
Yeah. Phew. Look at that. Look at those headers. Pretty bad. So now I'm using a 22mm socket to turn the motor over by hand, clockwise of course, until you access these flywheel bolts. Show up right here. And then you can use a 12mm to pry those loose, and that'll release the flywheel from the engine. There you go. Just repeat that until you get all 4 of them out of there.
The next step was to remove all the bell housing bolts that held the engine and the transmission together. What started as a simple removal of several bolts turned into a multiple day-long project.
Deep 14, and I am removing the bolt from the starter to the transmission, holding the starter onto the transmission here, just with a 14mm. All right, we've been working on that bolt for, this is the 3rd day. Yeah, it's right here. And my dad finally turned it with the freaking, oh yeah. Oh my, I never thought I'd see the day.
Fortunately for you, I discovered some tips and tricks along the way to hopefully make your process move a bit quicker compared to my glacial pace.
Such tight quarters, though.
Yeah. There was another bolt behind that bell housing bolt that was holding the starter on. So we chiseled that one off. My dad got it. And now we're free to get this bell housing bolt out, and then there's one more bell housing nut on the bottom. Almost there.
Finally getting these bolts removed felt like such a relief. We had one more nut to go. It sounded like an easy finish to this part of the project, but unfortunately, it gave me some grief.
Tell me when you're filming.
What'd you just do?
Alright, I got a PSA, y'all. I've literally been working on like 2 bolts for, I'm not kidding, probably at least 4 times coming here. Which is a lot of time.
That
and
is.
You have no idea the amount of frustration.
He had a dream about it.
Literally the last time we were here, I packed this car up to get junked without even getting the engine out because I was so annoyed. And literally, I bought this freaking $24 flex head ratchet from Harbor Freight. And this bad boy got broken loose in like 1 minute.
Literally.
From being here.
Come on.
This is the resumption of me taking this engine out because I'm not giving up. I ain't no quitter. And I freaking got this bolt out.
This was the last straw, and he got it.
So stoked. So boys, we're making moves now. Christmas, Subaru Swap 2020. This bolt right here has been the bane of my existence. The official defeat of this bolt. Yee-hoo! There it is. The last bell housing bolt, and we're ready to take this engine out. Let's go. That ended up getting that lower bell housing nut off. It's just the Harbor Freight 3/8 inch ratchet with the flex head, and I just have a deep 14mm on it, just a Craftsman, and it worked perfectly. I actually had more room than I needed. I thought I would need kind of like a mid-length socket, but this thing worked freaking perfectly, and it was so easy after trying all kinds of crap. And we did it.
I helped.
True.
With the greatest headaches now behind us, it was time for the fun part. The moment we had all been waiting for, busting out the actual engine hoist.
We're hopefully taking out the engine tonight. All right, after a long process, we're finally ready to pull this engine. It's been a long time coming. Good till it's like taut, maybe?
Yep.
Okay.
Up there. Want me to do the honors, or do you want to do it?
You can go for it. Oh yeah. Good. It's probably good. Oh yeah, there's already such a good gap in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh my.
Sweet. Oh, let me just go underneath and double check that it cleared those. I don't really know.
Yeah, my only thought is with it up in the air like this, the bolts might be binding and hard to get out. But
I know. So you cleared that one for sure. This one's like a little bit closer, but you're fine. Well, let's just give them a try.
all right.
Got the old 14. And that's holding it, so if it goes, it goes. The only hard part is with the heaters going even, it's so cold in here and everything that's metal is just freezing.
Yeah.
Red. All right. One of the bell housing bolts. There we go. Another one. All right. Second bell housing bolt. That one in. It should be completely unhinged. I have to do the screwdriver treatment. Oh yeah. Oh, we cleared the dowel over here.
Did we? Okay, yeah. So
So-
it's binding now. You have another screwdriver? Maybe if you can hold this one like that. That's too flimsy.
Yeah. Not too much.
Oh, yeah, that could work. Put that right down in there.
It's just like just barely stuck on something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh!
You're free, baby.
Woo! Oh my gosh. Yeah, so you see that little dowel?
Yep, yeah.
There's two of those, there's one of those on each side. I think it was just
That's-
barely caught on that.
Yep.
Holy smokes, well,
Heck yeah.
here we go.
Oh, yeah, those two big ones
Oh,
there that we
we're
took the
still
nuts off of. Yeah.
Holy crap, we did it.
Absolutely. We're free.
Oh, we're getting it. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is insane.
An empty Subaru
Well,
engine
here
bay
we
felt like
are.
a major step
Engine is
on our
full.
journey to getting this engine into the
Nothing
Vanagon.
left.
But with great destruction comes great amounts of cleanup.
Fully packed.
I called around to a few local junkyards to see who would be willing to
Vanagon
come pick
radiator
up our
in
donor
there.
vehicle,
All the
or
dash
whatever
parts,
was left of it.
all kinds of good stuff. And we're getting $100 for it. Lizzie and I took out our anger on this front panel. There she is.
Fortunately, one of them was willing to give me $100 for the car and was able to come drag it out of the garage. It sounded like a win-win to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was my first mistake. I started pulling the engine out and I realized I couldn't be part of it.
Now with an empty garage and a standalone Subaru engine, it was time to really start making it happen. The next step was to give the Subaru engine a refresh and to drop the old 2.1 liter water boxer out of the Vanagon to make room for this spunky new Subaru engine.
Just like that, we got the donor car out of here. We got our awesome working space here. And now the van right here just needs to get brought in here. We have engines ready to go. Too many engines, not enough vans. And this is where the van will be while we do the swap. So stoked.
Now it was really time to get our hands dirty. Stay tuned as we continue the Subaru Swap series and tell our story of getting this 1987 Volkswagen Vanagon Westfalia road trip ready. Thanks for following along. We're excited to continue sharing our adventures in and outside of this old Volkswagen van. Subscribe if you'd like to keep in touch and to get notified of our newest videos. And don't forget to stay coastin'. Yee-hoo!